If there is something that we are doing in our world that has an impact upon all life, such as climate change is indicating, then we have an obligation, actually more of a responsibility, to pursue a good course that will lead to the betterment of creation rather than its destruction.
Whether you believe in the story of creation, the theory of evolution, or a grand mashup of the two, one thing is certain: the Earth is changing, and in recent years it has begun changing more rapidly, with detrimental outcomes for many of the world's people, plants, and animals. And yet, there is tremendous hope for all of existence, if we can grow a heart to change.
I have a deep and abiding love for God's creation. I care for it as God would have me care for it, as much as humanly possible. I've been a priest and pastor for 24 years. I learned to read, write, and speak Greek at Holy Cross Greek Orthodox School of Theology. Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, in the original Greek, «Και είπεν ο Θεός επίσην άνθρωπον κατ' εικόνα ημιτέραν και καθομοίωσιν και οχέτωσαν των ηχθείων της θαλάσσης και των πετεινών του ουρανού και των τυπνών και πάση της γης και πάντων των επέτων των επόντων επί της γης». Archetosan is a word in Greek which can mean to rule in the sense of being the first among the orders of God's creatures, that we are all part of God's creatures, and that mankind is to have a sense of godly dominion over the rest of creation.
We're heading into some, legitimately uncharted territory for human beings. Human beings were not on this planet the last time CO2 levels were 1,000 parts per million, which they may be at 100 years from now. And the last time that did happen, the planet was an extremely different place. There were massive extinctions going on in the oceans, corals dying off, 90+% of ocean life going extinct. So it's frightening to think about a planet with humans trying to get through something like that. Those sorts of time frames of my daughter, a lot of our kids, it's a little disconcerting to think about. So I think the number one roadblock to getting society to take notice and take action on something like this is getting them over this hump of thinking that scientists are confused or bickering with each other on this topic, because we're not. We're way past that stage. We're now to the stage of looking at what does this mean for society, what's actually going to occur, how are we going to adapt to these changes, how can we mediate some of these changes. And I feel like politicians and the public are way back in the back, still fighting over the fact, is it real, what does it really impact me, what does it really matter. We're so far past that as a scientific community, it's not even funny. You know, if you went to your doctor, your MD, and he said, you've got brain cancer. Sorry to tell you, but you got brain cancer and it's terminal. Well, that sucks, that's bad news. That's really bad news. I'm gonna go get a second opinion just to make sure, because that's horrible news you're giving me. You go to a second doctor. It's a brain tumor, it's terminal. You go to a third doctor. It's a brain tumor, it's terminal. Go to a fourth doctor. It's a brain tumor, it's terminal. You go up through 9 doctors, and you hit one doctor out of your 10 doctors you go to that says, it's not a brain tumor, you're fine. If that's the opinion you choose to go with, all right, but you just had 9 specialists on your body tell you that you've got a brain tumor and it's terminal. Right now you've got 9 out of 10, more than 9 out of 10, 9.8 out of 10 climate scientists telling you climate change is happening. It's going to have a significant impact on every single person on this planet. And for some reason, people don't want to listen.
I don't think there is climate change driven by, if you're talking about man-made global warming, I think that's been fairly roundly debunked by real scientists. Okay. There, of course, CO2 does not drive temperatures. Temperature drives CO2.
Many individuals and community members don't understand, even though there's been tremendous science information for years and years and years about what's happening with the atmosphere and our impacts upon the environment through our lifestyle and behavioral choices. You don't have to understand the science of this. It's really about speaking about value and what we care about and truly what we love, and establishing that sense of meaning and sense of purpose within your community and your congregations, protecting your family, protecting your environment, protecting your air, your water, that which gives you life, that's a core value to your religious practice. We've really been developing through North Carolina Interfaith Power and Light 3 areas of programming in the areas of energy, food, and worship. Our energy program is the longest and strongest running program. We promote simple acts of unplugging your coffee maker after you brew your coffee in the morning is actually an act of worship. And every moment of every day, you can be practicing your faith by unplugging your cell phone, or understanding that I can put a sweater on is not just something that you do, just because you want to save money, but it's actually a practice. It's an act of worship.
I use reusable bags because mainly to be a good steward of our environment.
Well, I guess I got the reusable mug because since I started going to college, I kind of wanted to be a good steward, a good citizen of the world.
I think it's really important to have a reusable water bottle because I go through probably about 7 water bottles a day just to hydrate myself for a run.
I ride a scooter because it's a easier way to save money, to be a steward to the things that God has given me on this earth.
I came across the Goal Zero Power Pack. It's a solar kit powered by the sun, and I'm able to charge not only my iPhone, but my iPad, other tablets, Kindle, etc., all while using the power of the sun, not spending any money, and I can take it with me wherever I go.
Also, using reusable bags, you save money, and it's not inconvenient. It's a great way to shop. It really is. There's no reason not to do it.
Every time I come to Port City, Java, they give me 25 cents off. It doesn't sound like a lot at first, but it really adds up. I think our environment is not in a really great place, and future generations are going to inherit that. But I think if we start to make smarter decisions now, it's going to help us in the long run.
I'm saving hundreds of bottles a year, which is hundreds of dollars. Also, I think that as a global citizen, it's important to do the small things in order to contribute to the overall health of our environment, even if it's something as small as using a reusable bottle.
I think it's just a better way to use transportation. It's less energy, less emissions. It's just a good way to get around, I feel.
What do we need to do about improving our environment? A lot, and we have done a lot in our country. We've seen as we've become more and more affluent, our rivers are cleaner, our lakes are cleaner, our water is cleaner than it has been in decades. Our CRC science panel predicted a 39-inch sea level rise over the next century. You can go to NOAA's website and you can actually read real scientists who actually produce real empirically based numbers and see if the tides are changing. I mean, they try to legislate that, and the UN's trying to legislate it, but real science is important, and that's what I like to pay attention to and study.
We can expect, a few centimeters of sea level rise in the next 30 years or so, probably. And that doesn't sound like much, but when you're living a few centimeters above sea level, like many people are along the coastlines, that's a problem, and it also increases inland flooding as a result of bringing that base level of water up. And everything that's at that mean tide level, as the sea level comes up, will almost always be underwater. This is not something that comes to the interior and then goes away. This is something that comes up, floods that land surface, and it stays flooded. And so if your house is on that land, your farmland is on that land, whatever, it's gone. It's underwater now. It won't take much melting of those big ice sheets in places like Greenland and Antarctica to get sea level to rise significantly and start impacting coastal communities like Wilmington or anywhere coastal. When people start trying to say that this is natural variability, this is a natural part of the cycle, there's no denying that climate change is a natural cycle. It goes on all the time. We all know that from there being ice ages and mastodons and mammoths running around not that long ago, geologically speaking. Yeah, climate changes, but we're talking about changing it in ways that it has not done in millions of years.
we need to be accountable for our use of free will. So if we freely seek to destroy that which God created, I cannot see that as a benefit. Chapter 22, verse 39, Gospel of Matthew. Δεύτερα ομοία αυτή, αγαπήσεις τον πλησίον σου ως σε αυτόν. If we understand that we're created in the image and likeness of God, then loving our neighbor as our very own being means we have a responsibility to take care of each other. If we're going to make a good life, not only for ourselves and for all of God's creation, we got to take into consideration what we are doing to our environment. And if we can find a path that is more pleasing to God, then I think we will be very blessed for doing it.
We need to learn right now, right here and now, that we need to adapt to that which we will not be able to avoid and avoid that which we will not be able to adapt to. And that's the reality of our climate scenario that we're in right now.
You say it's your religion. Who you love is your religion. How you love is your religion. All your science, your religion. All your hatred, your religion. All your wars are your religion. Every breath